And we're going to march down the foothill and back. So right now I want to introduce Larry Everest. He's from Revolution newspaper, and Larry's going to give a statement from the Revolutionary Communist Party on the occasion of the National Day of Protest to stop police brutality, repression, and the criminalization of a whole generation. Es Larry Everest del Partido Comunista Revolucionario, dando un mensaje del partido Larry Everest del periódico Revolución.
The Revolutionary Communist Party salutes everyone here, everyone at actions around the country. Whether you've been fighting this fight for years or whether this is your very first day, we salute all of you. Without the kind of resistance that we are seeing today and that October 22nd stands for, we're never going to get justice, and we're never going to get to another world. As our party says, we need more of this. The days when this system can just keep on doing what it does to people, here and all over the world, when people are not inspired and organized to stand up against these outrages and put their strength to putting an end to this madness, those days must be gone, and they can be gone. We need a mass movement, ultimately of millions of people, a movement that unites those who suffer the horrors of police brutality and repression and criminalization every day, with people who can't stand to see this happening, even if it doesn't affect them personally. A movement that can change the way that a lot of middle-class people are taught to fear the basic people who are living under the gun, and change the ways that people living under the gun are taught to think about themselves and to blame themselves for the supposed choices that they had, but actually what's being done to them by the system. Or if they feel they can stand up, feeling like nobody's going to stand with them. This kind of movement we need to bring forward can change all of that. Bob Avakian, BA, the chairman of the party and leader who's brought forward the new synthesis of communism, starts his epic talk, Revolution, Nothing Less, by asking, how long must this nightmare of oppression and brutality that so many are forced to endure, how long must this go on? And he goes on to say, let's start with the one great crime of this system, police murder after murder after murder of black people and Latinos, especially youth. Many people were feeling this same feeling after the murderer of Trayvon Martin walked free. This crime harkened back to the days and the lynching of Emmett Till and was nothing but a modern day lynching. How long must this go on? That's a question we're asking today. And we have to ask ourselves, what kind of a system is it that chases a young, unarmed black man, Ramarley Graham, into his own bathroom and then murders him in front of his parents? What kind of a system murders David Saul Silva, a Chicano father, right in front of his own house, right in front of community witnesses, and then vindicates the murderers? What kind of a system treats people that are forced to come here to survive, to find work, as so-called illegal aliens and criminals, and persecutes them and rips families apart, when a young person can come home after school one day? Where are my parents?
That's right!
who've been ripped away from them? What kind of a system wiretaps and spies on billions of people, not just here, but all around the world? The horrors that we're fighting against today, police brutality, the criminalization of a whole generation, all these horrors are going to keep going on as long as the source of the problem is not dealt with. Let's be clear here. It is critically important we struggle against injustice and we unite together to do that. But it's even more important to get to the root of the problem and get to the solution. Revolution, nothing less. We can do that. We can get rid of this system and put a whole different system in its place. We can make revolution. Not right this minute, not today, not next week. But we can do it. This is not just talk here. This is real. And we're not just talking about it. We're working to prepare for it every single day and rally the masses to be ready for the time we can do this. This system has deep problems. Just look at this shutdown with two camps in the ruling class fighting each other and shut down this government for 16 days. Why is that? Because they have a world of problems based on how their system works and how people resist against it and how this gives rise to one argument after the other among them. This is important that we all understand this if we're going to be for real about making revolution and changing this. When these kinds of things happen, it forces people to ask big questions, and it shows that these rulers are not all powerful, that everything is not under control, that they don't have to rule forever and ever and ever. And when people decide they're not going to keep letting the system keep them down, when people stand up against oppression and struggle like we're doing here today, when people check out and get closer to real revolutionary alternative, this can actually prepare the ground and organize and bring closer the day when those on top cannot get out of their problems so easily. And when people see a real alternative and are ready to sacrifice it for it, then millions will actually be able to make a revolution. A whole new system can be built, one in which people are not subject to the horrors of today. The criminalization, the exploitation of immigrants, the demeaning of women day in and day out, the horrible wars, and the living hell this system creates, even worse than here in Asia, in Africa, in Latin America. But you can't know that, and we can't get to that without getting into BA and the whole new synthesis of communism he's brought forward and the constitution for this new society that's been written and that's based on that work, all of which you can get right here. Our party's determined to bring forward and lead millions to make revolution and bring in a whole different day, a day when October 22nd is marked as a commemoration and a celebration of the fact that these police murders are no more. When young people ask, how did this go on for so long? Why did this happen? What did you do about it? And the message that they take from this is never again should this be allowed to happen. This cannot happen without you. But with you, it can happen. And there's a role for everybody here and millions more that aren't here, big and small, to help make this revolution happen. Number one, get into BA. Start with this film, BA Speaks, Revolution, Nothing Less. You can get it right there. We're showing it November 15th at the UC Berkeley campus. Talk to anybody here who's into the revolution. They'll hook you up. Show it to your friends. Ask questions. Talk about it. Get the book Basics, Quotes and Essays from Bob Avakian, a handbook for revolution. You can't change the world if you don't know the basics. And while you're doing that, be part of the campaign we're involved in now to spread BA's work and leadership everywhere so people know that another world is possible and we have the leadership to get us there. And get with our party. Get with the Revolutionary Communist Party. Work with it. Support it. Come closer and join it. Because not only are we going to need a strong, experienced, deeply rooted vanguard capable of leading when the deal does go down. We need that party right now, and we need it all the way through the revolution and after. And finally, let's continue this struggle against police brutality, repression, and criminalization of a generation. Let's intensify it. Let's work toward the day when people no longer have to say, how long? When they can walk in the liberating sun of a whole new day. There are no guarantees. The struggle will be hard, but here's the question. Can we settle for anything less?
No!
Revolution, nothing less. Revolution, nothing less. Revolution, nothing less.
Yeah!